Hello and welcome to the Hoplite, which is this monstrosity from the front. I couldn't find armour with the same chest piece type style, which the Greeks had. It does cover a bit too much of the upper arms, but that's alright. It doesn't have a skirt. The Slave Knight leggings matched up with that, and I decided to have iron bracelets rather than golden ones, just because I thought, you know what, that's what they'd have. And the Northern helm was closest to what a Hoplite helm was. So this is the Hoplite. It uses a sharp pike, a refined short sword, and a sunset shield. The armour I've already covered, and Ring of Favour, Life Ring, Prisoner's Chain, and Chlorophy Ring. And, well, I've decided to go and, well, use this shield over the sunset shield, because the sunset shield is bigger, and I want to use that one for, say, a Spartan cosplay in the future, to reflect the bigger shields that I feel because I do want to make it up a little at least on those. And they'll likely be using a heavier helmet and similar, even though they historically weren't that different. Now, the reason for the pike, their spears were typically longer ones overall. And oh boy, will you look at this. That's connection. Well played. The R2s on it are alright. This person is not alright. But yeah, the pike is because they use much longer spears than most other things did historically. I mean, after all, they were often pikeman units in a sense, as the phalanx would show. But they also carried a relatively short sword, which was for use, I believe, at close range, just thrust into gaps in their armour. Hence I'm using the short sword rather than something a little longer like the long sword or similar. Now, I'll be honest, I prefer this build way less than the Legionnaire build I did, which I've discovered has a few inaccuracies. Since today, actually, I visited a historical Roman fort in... I've already forgotten the name of it, because I am that stupid. But it's in Wales. It's one of the excavated sites near Newport. I know the fort itself was called Isca, but I can't actually remember the name of the place it's at in modern day terms, because I'm that much of an egg. Well, he didn't attack me with it. Nope. Nope. Let's switch to the short sword for a bit. The range is short, but it's still a straight sword. As such, its damage is not bad at all. Oh god. Ooh. Nope. Well done to you. But, yeah, you realised at least that parry spam isn't the way to go. But yeah, like, I still don't like how it just does this. It just looks a little abomination like that. But otherwise I feel this is better, but yeah. I realised that the Roman legionnaires themselves only used a spear at the very beginning, and it wasn't an actual spear. It was to throw at the enemy, and then they used their gladius pretty much solely for the rest of the battle. Now, I think it was auxiliary troops that I may have been thinking about that used spears predominantly and consistently. I can't be certain upon that, because I haven't looked further into it as of yet, but if it was inaccurate, whoops. But otherwise it might have been a bit of an auxiliary legionnaire, or just a legionnaire that had the audacity to use a spear because I'm an idiot. But either way, it doesn't really matter that much, because it was still a relatively stable and functional build for it. Now, I will say, the reason I don't like the pike, or this build, is despite longer range, the speed is horrendous. Yeah, I have a really bad habit of doing that attack, but... Ooh, come on then. Yeah, the running attack on this is the really garbage one. I think if the range was a bit longer, I would have got that one, probably. Counter thrust. And bamboozled by the backstab. Yeah, the range on that is fucking awful. I'll say that much. I don't like using the short sword for that reason. It may be a straight sword, but when the range is about 3mm, it isn't fun. I mean, I might be the same range as the broadsword for all I know, and I'm just shit, but I definitely prefer the broadsword over this little thing. Maybe it's because the moveset was much more tricky for the opponent with the, you know, R2s and such, but I don't really know. But yeah, I don't enjoy the not broadsword, short sword all that much. And I don't enjoy fighting. Why has everyone I've had got a parry tool so far? I mean, you can't really spam the pike either, actually, now I think about it. Because if you do, you get backstabbed. And you will get backstabbed very easily using this thing, because it's slow as hell when one-handed. That's how it is historically by hoplites. They were pretty terrible for use against infantry, unless you had a wall of them, in which case you could just thrust a little. End your suffering? Okay, I'll do that. I could have just got like 250 damage. See what I mean? It is so... And you're a Hornet Ring user, okay. I have no respect for you, and I am going to utterly slaughter your fucking face now. And no, this is not the time I need bloody shite turning up on the bottom side. Come on. Come on. You'll break me quite quickly, but... Come on, clap at me. He wants to play passive now. Let's just remove these quickly. Done. And, well, yeah. This is basically used at the start of the match. Unless you get parried, in which case you cry a bit and then get out your short sword. You don't use that for long periods of time. Because it's not a good weapon unless you're two-handing it. And even then, the Lothric Knight Longspear is a much better choice. This just looks better in terms of the cosplay. Now, other factors that I would say influence the viability of this build. If you went with a dark version of it, it would do quite well, because then you'd have a nice easy way to deal with shield users. Generally, an elemental infusion would be a smart idea, rather than a quality build, but historical accuracy, they didn't have magical weapons, did they? And you look like a pyromancer. With a parry, you're gonna have a chaos dagger. Okay. Don't understand that. Ooh. Ooh, God. I have to keep them at bay. Ooh, no. I was quite lucky that didn't hit me directly. He's gonna play you passive. Sir, are you just gonna spam that now? That range upsets me. Okay, one solution, short sword. And that animation cancelled. Dealt with suitably. I've been messaged somewhere, but I don't know where. I just know that my iPad gave me a warning that I've been messaged. Delicious. But yeah, you don't use the pike often. I would recommend just stick with the short sword after, say, using the pike at the start. Because once an enemy gets close, they would have historically switched to the damn bloody swords. At least that's what I've read up on. And I think that's what I remember. But my memory, of course, is an absolute potato, so be careful. Now, in relation to any other particular details, this build would make a lot more sense with a group of, say, 2 or 3. Personally, I'd say 3. I mean, the sword is a parry sword. Shield is a parry shield. That's an ultra, and I have no confidence in the capabilities of it. I still had a tiny bit of stamina, and I feel that was lost. Finally! Ooh. Let's switch to the sword, getting close, and personal. Yeah, the sword is much better for finishing opponents, really, or at least dealing with certain types. The running attack is this. It's not good. You don't use that. On any weapon that has that, you don't use that. Because it does no damage, uses up most of your stamina, and also, well, how else do I put it? It generally is the easiest thing in the game to parry, and if someone's going to parry you, it's going to be then. I think it's even easier to parry in the charge because it has even less risk of doing so. Because if they fail to parry on this somehow, all it's going to do is like 12 damage. If they fail to parry a charge, it can actually do something quite meaningful. Oh, and the weapon art on this is actually charge, I might add that. Spell sword using a great sword. I'm not even sure it's a... no. They intend to stick onto me, do they? Wow, okay. No. Okay, they're playing hyper aggressive but also parry loading. And as you can see there, they have no range, but this has even less. And I don't know what's happened there, but I think they're playing unlocked. Also, that... I'm glad I blocked there. They expect... Don't expect that, do you, mate? That was a scary amount of damage that they did. Whew. That's what the Drake Blood's for. You buff it, and you do stupid amounts of damage. You buff it with either lightning or magic. Do either of those and you're using it just about right. Take it raw as well. Even use resins at a low level build if you want. And it will do damage. And by damage I mean lots of it. Now, I mean I was losing quite a lot when I last used this. Probably... well, I'm playing more in the evening now, which is a bit closer to European times that they get on. So I match with people that don't have massive latency. And oh lord, what on earth am I fighting here? If I'm going to lose to anything, it's going to be this. That does surprisingly little stamina damage. Is he just gonna... He's gonna play defensively, okay. Punished. But yeah, he's a regen build. I saw him put on regen at the start. Yeah, he's learned his lesson. Oh god. Not sure why he just stood there. Oh god, he still had health. Yeah, that perseverance really paid out for him, didn't it? Let's try it. Oh my god, I actually hit him. Okay, it isn't completely useless. It has one use. And he couldn't parry there unless he pulled out a case this right out of his arse on a moment's notice. That would have been a little scary, wouldn't it? And I thought I was going to lose that because I'm awful at fighting hyper armor weapons with a pike. And I totally forgot I can just do things like what I did there. Now, the next thing I'm going to make, I'm not actually sure as of the moment. It might be a barbarian, like I originally was thinking of doing. And that'll likely be a lot lighter armor and a much more... It will probably be a regular spear, possibly a partisan. And maybe the ethereal oak shield, who knows. It's all the same type of build though, so I do want to take a moment to make something that's a little different at very least. And that's my exact intention. I will be making a very different build next. Hopefully it'll be quite fun to use. It will be something that definitely throws me off a little, I imagine. Now, the character themselves, though, for the build is unlikely to be an authentic one. It's just likely to be a character that does sort of suit it in some ways. But, sir, why? What are you doing with your life? Okay, okay. They're just gonna be one of those peoples, aren't... People, aren't they? Come on at me. I'm not gonna fucking pursue you, am I? No. He has something on. Is it... Oh, I see what it is. Well, there we go. Yeah, he did have some stuff on. Not sure why on earth you would have that as your build, but then again, many people do stuff like that. Sometimes it's for shenanigans, sometimes it's to challenge themselves, but... But yes, the next thing I make, the character won't suit it, or rather, the character just won't look the part of a person from where it is or such. But it definitely will take a very historic role. I can imagine some people will point out where it's from. Probably because, you know, people. They like saying, oh yeah, this, that and the other. Like, history nuts will probably see these builds and be like, bloody hell, these are inaccurate, aren't they? But, like, for what I have in the game, I'm doing my best. I mean, I had a look for other options, didn't see anything better either. Now, one more match, and that'll be it for now. But yeah, the next build is going to be a physical build, but I do know it's not going to be a thing using a shield. And that's a fact, and yeah, knew that was going to get cancelled. Now, when I do get to using it, I do hope I'll be having fun with it. I probably will, considering it's a weapon class that I'm alright with, and it does have a few capabilities, though I do find the speed of them and certain other factors a little slow. But then again, they do have a great running attack, and if you can't guess the weapon from that, I'll be quite surprised. Yeah, this person's gonna get in there. I'm just gonna... Okay. Can't really block them. So they have a health advantage. I'm not sure. Excuse me. There's latency. I'm quite sure of that. Also, again, short sword, I don't like it. Maybe a straight sword, but I just do not like fighting with it at all. It feels weak. It's just not a good weapon, and I wouldn't recommend using it. Pike also wouldn't recommend using all that well, because it's inferior to the other weapon of its type. And, yeah, it's not good. But yeah, that was not a good way to end, was it? You know, fighting a dark scimitar, because people love winning. But yeah, that's that for this build. And either way, I'll see what I end up having next time. Bye for now.